So it's time once again to do some retro CSS battles. These are from December 4th, 5th, and 6th of 2023, and I do my thing and try to match these elements with code. That's the whole thing with CSS Battle. So to start, I'm putting that background on the background and adding margins to the elements. And what I'd like to do is constrain it so that it's just exactly the right size, so that the darker color here, I guess a magenta, kind of a deep red, I would like it to be just within the edges of that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So then, I guess what I've actually got here is a radial gradient, right? I've got, and it does repeat, but I'm going to start with the single radial gradient. A circle, circle, and it starts with the deep red. And then it has this color, the lighter, and then it's transparent to let through whatever is going on outside of it. So let's see if we can create that circle. 20%, 0, 40%, 0. That's a little too small. Now I'm using percentages, and we're going to see if that's going to be a problem when I get to the point where I need to make this repeat. Okay. Because what I would like to do is, so I guess that this is 50. If it's in the middle of whatever this background is, and the background is 100% wide, and it's some percentage off. So that's the idea. There we go. And indeed, I think that percentages are going to be harder to do. So I'm not going to do percentages. Let's do the pixels numbers, so maybe we can adjust them after. And that's too big. All right. And we're going to clobber that. Let's just get the size right. 4. Okay. And then 550. No, maybe 60. And then let's see if we can get the height right. So that gives us 3. I'm adjusting. There we go. So that's kind of the shape, right? Is that the shape? That's kind of the shape. So then if we move this, maybe it's 25, 20. Let's just make it a pixel number. Minus 10 pixels. That looks pretty good to me. That looks pretty good. So what do we need to do in the background here? So I've got this color in the background. So what can I do to create that shape? And you'll note that I could just do this on the body, but then I would need to cover up, because the way that repeats, you'll get another circle here, and so we have to do something about it anyway. So we're doing it all in this paragraph element, and I think that's fine. Linear gradient, I think, is the way to go. And we're going to do transparent, and then the dark color, and then transparent again. And we need numbers. How about 10%, 0, 90%, and 0. But that's not enough. Let's make it go down. 20, 21, 22. All right, does that make that 88? 78, 78. Math. Let's submit it and see if we got a good score there, or a good enough score. 100% match is what we're looking for, and that's 99.9%, and that's not what we go for. We would like to get better than that. All right. Okay. So what are the numbers here? 40 pixels. 41? No. 40. I'm arguing with myself. 30 pixels. 35. 36, 37, 38, 39. 40 pixels. Oh, and that looks better. And then 140 pixels. Let's submit that and see if that's 100% match for the CSS Battle servers. And it is. We unit replace, we minify, and we are done with that guy. Fun little shape. One shape for sure. Very enjoyable, and that's a better score than I've gotten in the past. I'm not sure what techniques I've done before. Probably you could do this many other different ways. This is the way I chose to do it. That's a fun one. You could do 2 paragraph elements and then a conic gradient to get this rectangle in the background. Many choices, as I said. This guy. All right. So this guy, this is a funny one. I feel like we've got a lot of choices here. And what I think is interesting. All right, so what is this shape? Let's do this shape. I feel like I want to do just the first row of this shape as an element. I don't know exactly why. I just have this instinct. Like, let's try that. There's a tendency for me in elements like this to kind of overthink the look and feel of these guys. And I think, and even more. Let's get it into place. Let's 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. 45, okay. And then let's get the height right. 20? No. 20? He's 30 pixels tall. And then his width. So I have margin 45 auto. So that's going to center it. Width is 100. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Even 200, 205. 210. 210. So it's 210 wide. Something that's interesting is I can set a color here. And, well, no, let's not do that. We're not doing that yet. Okay, so let's do the linear gradient that this is made of. Linear gradient. And that's coming in from the side, 90 degrees. And it's a color. And then transparent. And then that color of a shorter duration. And then transparent again. And starts at 0. And then it's, 100 pixels wide or something. And I have some bad code in here, and I don't know what yet. Okay, I've lost track of whatever I've got going on there. All right, so something in here, this linear gradient is bad because I'm not seeing anything, and that's no good. 90 degrees, color. So let's do red, semicolon, yep, there it is. Linear gradient, 90 degrees, color. Oh, it's the 0. And then let's no repeat. And let's do what I was trying to do, 0, 100 pixels. And I'm going to make this last one black so that I can see it. So I want the edges to go, I want it to be this stripe. That's what I'm going to do. That is my plan there. Okay. So 30 pixels, 0, 50 pixels, 0, 70 pixels, 0. Okay, so those numbers are all wrong. So let's make it wider. 110, 20, 30, 40, 50. 150 wide. So then 40. I think it's 50. Let's make that 70. Or rather 80. 100. And that's what I got now. So this first part is not wide enough. 60, 70, 60. That's full black. That's good. And then this used to be a little bit wider. 90. And then let's go a little wider here, 120. And then that would be correct. I think that's what I want. And I allow this to repeat. And that's the element. Now we're going to need another one here at the bottom. So that's fine. And let's go ahead and create a second one. And that's going to be the other. And then let's create another one that's going to have a slightly different background for the middle one. And see, so I'm going to, on this one, I'm going to do a background of red so I can see it. Oh, and that's gorgeous. I think we're, oh no, we're not in good position. I was kidding. All right. Here's what I think. Okay. So I think, all right, so here's what I'd like to do. What's the difference between the middle one and this one? I guess what I see is it's 60, right? So 60, if 60 is the top margin, so we can put a margin on the top, minus 15, and we're in good shape there. Okay, cool. I'll take that. Silly as that is. Okay. And now I have that background, but now I'm going to adjust that background. And I think it's at what? It's at 30. Oh, and we need two different of those. No, we don't. We actually don't need that. So let's do a no repeat on this one. And make that black. Whoops. Something is not showing up because this, okay, that's why. All right. So the width of that is too wide. 10, 20, 100, 90. And then we let it repeat, and I think that's correct. All right, so we've got that part. Is that any good? I don't know. It's kind of satisfying to automate this a little bit. All right. So the next thing, I think, what's the rest of this shape, I guess? And how do I put color in some of these spots? How about a shadow? So for on the second one, we're gonna do box shadow. We're gonna set a color. No, but yeah, color of that, and then box shadow. Or even more, so What if it's just 30 here? And then we put a border bottom on this. Border solid, and then this color. Border width, or border block actually. Solid. $30 pixels. Okay. And then let's adjust the margins on the body here to be 30. 40, 40, 50, 45. All right, so now with borders, we've got the other parts of that. Now, I've put myself in a corner a little bit here, which is maybe kind of dumb. But I can't deny that this is kind of a fun, weird solution. I enjoy this fun, weird solution a lot. Okay. What if we did 0 margin? And then we created another element of PX. Let's call it. I know, it's goofy. And then X is, I'm going to put background red on him. And we just verify, yeah. And then we put a border inline, border block. Border block of 30 pixels solid, this color. No, border inline is what I want there, sorry. Oh, and that makes me, oh, that's goofy. Yeah, that's no good. We need to do a background. So let's make the background linear gradient. Which is, again, 90 degrees. This color, 30 pixels. And then the width is, it's at 0, and then it's, you know, it's 180 pixels wide, and then that's it. All right, so that's a lot of moving parts. It's not really great code, and it's certainly not optimized yet. So let's variabilize this a little bit. Okay, so that background is very similar. Okay, so we don't need that color. All we need is a border block on that one. So B, I'm going to put a B on this one. And can I variabilize the whole works? Okay, hold on. I may not do that. Let's do var G for background. I know that's odd. G for background. And then dash dash G. And leave it at that. I will point out that these are very similar numbers, very similar values. And actually, let's submit, make sure we're still at 100%. Yeah. I was gonna. So these are identical. They start with 30 pixels. It makes me think that the whole works could be reworked, but we're gonna leave it at that. There are many other optimizations that can be made here, and we're not going to do them. I'm happy enough with that code. it's a surprise. Like, I think that the last time I did this, I did it almost entirely with conic gradients, and I was really happy with that at the time. But I think that the element border's just a great solution. And yeah, and it's terser. It's a lot shorter in terms of the code, even though this could be tuned and optimized even more. It is a better score than I've got in the past. All right. And then lastly, oh, this is kind of a fun one. Okay, so what do we got here? I feel very inclined to do all two conic gradients and a radial gradient. So what's the first conic gradient? I think it's going to be this middle one, so the thick one. So it's transparent, 75% or 270 degrees, and 0. So that's what that looks like. And then let's move that over. I want this to align perfectly well, and I'll put this in the background so that I can see the contrast. There it is. Okay, so A2, A3, A4, 85 pixels. And then we need an at value at 50%, and 50% is what it is now. So to get it over a little bit more, how about 60? How about 55, 56, 57, 58? Those are not great things. How about 100 pixels? How about 100 Q? Let's do that. Use Q units for giggles. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Oh, 2, 3, 4. That is not great. I don't like that at all. 300 pixels is, how about 250 pixels? How about 230 pixels? There it is. And let's move downward. Great. And then again, the units here are just not quite right. How about 40Q, 100Q, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what I'm doing is I'm visually inspecting, is this a good match? Any Q unit or percent unit needs to be inspected and like, hey, is that actually a good idea? So there's the first conic gradient to get the main part of this. The next conic gradient is going to be very similar. In fact, I'm going to copy this one, remove the at value, and remove the positioning. And this one's going to be shallow and wide. So that means the at value is at like 80% and then 10% height. So like that. Maybe it's 15. All right, and then we move it downward. And we move it over 30 pixels, 100 pixels. Okay. Over a little more, make it 40, 45, sure, and then down, how about 120, 125, and then 16, 17, that's not good values either, 10Q, how about 20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 52, 53, Q, sure, and then that's too wide, I think, is what we're seeing there. Yeah, too wide. So let's decrease that number to 79, 78%, 77%, 76%. Terrible. No good. How about 100Q? 150Q, 200Q, 200Q. How about 250Q? Oh, that's not working. How about 300Q? There it is. 3, 10, 20, 30, 20, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. and that looks like a match. So that's how we get the first two with a conic gradient. And then over top of the whole works a radial gradient, which is a circle. You got to spell circle right. It's this dark color in the middle, and then it's this yellow, and then it's transparent to let through everything else. 10%, 0, 30%. Oh, that can't be right. Oh, that's right. So 10%, so that's a 10% inner circle, and then a 30% outer circle. Just looks right to me as that number, and that is a perfect match. That's a 100% match from the CSS Battle servers, CSSBattle.dev. These are available for if you got a Plus membership, which I do. Unit replacement, minify, trim at some of these sizings, and resubmit, and we're done. And that's a new high score for myself, and that's great. That's mostly I'm competing against myself more than competing against anybody else. So this is what the December 2023. That's the 4th, and that's the 5th, and that's the 6th, and that's a lot of CSS. CSS, HTML, they're awesome. They're great. Make something cool with HTML and CSS today. Have a great day. Take care of each other. What am I saying? Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Okay. Bye-bye.